let's talk about defining your brand. But first, let's define what a brand is. Your brand is what people think about your business and how it makes them feel. Notice there are two very important parts to this definition. The first is the logical half, what people think about your business, and the second is the emotional half. These two roles play an important part in your brand, and we'll come back to them later. Just keep it in mind. Now, some of the benefits of defining your brand are 1, leaving a positive impression by communicating a consistent and clear message. 2, attracting your ideal clients by speaking specifically to what they're dealing with. And 3, having a clear and consistent foundation for your brand by having guidelines that you can use anytime you're creating new materials for your business. So ultimately what it comes down to is clear communication, and that's your ultimate goal when defining your brand. Now, going back to the two sides of your brand, the logical and the emotional, let's talk about why those two sides are important. The logical side, when all is said and done, is basically your business plan, who you are, who you serve, what you do, and the really concrete terms of how that works. Now, the emotional side ends up being your brand personality, how your brand feels to other people. And both sides are really important to have a meaningful brand. So if you think about it, if you have a business that's only logical, you have a brand that's only logical, people may know about you, but you're going to have a hard time getting people to care about your business. And you'll probably have a hard time caring about your business because there's no heart or emotion in it. On the flip side, if all you focus on is the emotional side and you make your brand feel really good and feel really inviting, you may end up disappointing your clients because you don't have any concrete steps or methods behind that, and you'll end up delivering inconsistent work because your brand is just all emotional, it's all feeling, and there's no concrete ideas behind your brand. Now, with all that said and kind of the intro done, you can go ahead and pause this video and follow along. I'll be asking some questions to help you define your brand throughout the rest of the video. And I've actually created a worksheet for you in the description of this video that you can use to easily follow along. So go ahead and pause and grab that if you're interested in doing that. The first part that we need to define for your brand is you. If you're a solopreneur, a freelancer, or the face of your business, this means literally you. If your business is more of a small team and there's no one person that's kind of the face of the business, this is the business personified. What is this business about if it was a person? Okay, so in either case, you're thinking about it in terms of how you would think about a person, whether that's a literal person or your business turned into a person. So let's define that, starting with the logical side. The logical questions of this are, what's your background? What are your talents or skills? What's your experience? So to help you understand what I'm talking about, let's start with an example, and we'll use her for the rest. Let's say our example is a virtual assistant named Emily. Let's say, so for her logical side, her skills could be Microsoft Suite proficiency, Asana, inbox management, scheduling, and Trello certification, if that's a thing, right? And maybe her experience is an undergraduate degree in business administration, and she has 3 years experience working in the nonprofit sector. Those are the kind of answers you're looking for. Now moving to the emotional side of who you are, ask yourself, what's your personality? Again, if your business is part of a small team, kind of think of the personality as a business as a whole. What is the team like? How does the business feel when it's interacting with others, right? And another question to ask is, what's your mission? Why do you care about doing this work? So, in going back to our example of Emily, the virtual assistant, right? Let's say her personality is outgoing, organized, and positive, right? And maybe her mission is really to enable nonprofit women leaders in her area. Maybe she really, really cares about helping people who are doing good do even more good, right? She cares about kind of being a catalyst for them, helping them to grow their impact. That would be her mission. Those are the kinds of answers you're looking for on the emotional side of who you are. Now, it's important for you to be able to tell people who you are really clearly, because introducing yourself is going to be that much easier. People like to feel like they know and trust the businesses or individuals they're working with, and by really making that clear and figuring out what parts of you your potential clients care about, you can make that introduction a lot more impactful without having to spend as long building that relationship, right? Okay, the next area you want to define are your clients, right? So let's start on the logical side. What are their needs? What current problems are they facing, right? Also, what's their demographic? You don't have to know everything about their demographic, just think about what overlapping traits your clients have. Are they all women? Are they all on the East Coast? Things like that. If the demographic isn't essential to the work you do with them, you don't have to know it. You don't have to know if they're a dog or cat person if what you're doing has nothing to do with dogs or cats. So let's go back to Emily and kind of talk about what that would look like for her. Her clients' needs are organization. They're facing overwhelming to-do lists that they can't handle, and they're getting really stuck and bogged down in the busy work of running a nonprofit. And their demographic is middle-aged women on the East Coast who run a nonprofit, right? That's all relevant information to the work Emily does for them. For the emotional side of who you serve, ask yourself, what do they value? What are their ultimate dreams? What do they want their future to look like? And actually, instead of asking yourself this, if you're able to, it's really helpful to be able to talk to some of your clients, either current ones or people you would like to have as clients, and get their feedback on this so you know exactly what they're looking for. But going back to Emily's example, right, virtual assistant for nonprofit leaders, some of her clients' values would be, doing good, putting people first, making positive change in their communities, building communities, right? And their dreams would be to make the world a better place, right? Generic, but also just expand the impact of the current nonprofit they're doing. So keep doing the work they're doing, but more. And the final section we want to look at are the services and products you offer, the things that actually make your business a business. Starting with the logical side, what are they, right? What services or products do you offer? What work method do you use? How do you deliver those services or methods? And what are your price points? Going back to Emily, she offers hourly virtual assistant packages that focus on inbox organization, scheduling, project management, and time tracking. Her work method maybe is working through Asana, Voxer, and email to stay on hand for her clients and keep their workflow organized. And then her price point could be $30 to $40 depending on the package she offers, putting her slightly above the average rate. That's the kind of information you're looking for. Now, moving to the emotional side of what you do. What transformation do you bring to your clients' lives? How do their lives improve after they work with you? So, for Emily's clients, their lives get more organized, more peaceful, but her clients are also able to expand their impact and do more work because they're not getting stuck in the busy work, right? Their lives become more streamlined and therefore more efficient. And not only does that grow their impact, that makes them more at peace, right? They're able to focus on the things they really care about, and their minds aren't bogged down by all the busy work and the day-to-day stuff, right? So those are two big ways their lives improve after working with her. And that's it. That's all the information you need to define your brand. And these are starting points, right? This isn't all the information you'll ever need to run your business, but this is your foundation. And that foundation is incredibly important. To make this information a little more usable, you're going to want to condense it into clear and concise language that you can use kind of as your guidepost going forward. So let's start with the logical side, which will end up being your basic business plan, right? How can you condense all of your logical answers into one or two sentences that you can essentially turn into your elevator pitch, right? It's a basic description of what you do, who you are, who you serve, how you serve them, right? There will be some overlap in the things you talked about in each of the 3 sections, and that's good. Like in our example with Emily, organization was a topic that came up in all 3 sections. So that's an important thing to include. In fact, start with the ideas and concepts that are in more than one section and make sure you pull those out. And you don't have to put everything you wrote down into your final answer, The point is to make it simple and clear and not describe every single thing you do, right? This is a broad picture of what you do, but that still uses specific language, right? So for Emily, that may sound something like, Emily is a virtual assistant to nonprofit leaders who serves them with organizational and administrative services so that they can expand their impact and affect more change, right? Something like that. This business plan is important because it reminds you of 3 very important things. 1, being who your ideal client is and who you need to be building relationships with. 2, the topics your content should be centered around. And 3, what your main offerings are, what work really matters to this core of your business. Moving to the emotional side and condensing that down, it won't be condensed into sentences and structure like that because it's an emotional thing, right? It's what you want people to feel, not something you tell them directly. So we're going to condense it into 3 to 5 emotional descriptors, which will end up being your brand personality. So to do this, go back through your emotional answers and try to condense the ideas down into emotional descriptors. In Emily's example, some of the ideas that came up could be described as altruistic, organized, positive, supporting, visionary, purposeful, inclusive, etc. Now you want to combine similar ideas and words down to just 3 to 5 words. And if you're having trouble with this, I really recommend using thesaurus.com to find exactly the right word you want to use, right? Because it's easier to condense to 3 to 5 words if you can find a word that encapsulates the idea of maybe 3 of the ideas you're playing with at a time. So for Emily's, I would probably condense her brand personality down to supportive, enthusiastic, and purposeful. Your brand personality is important because it determines the tone of your message, right? Because how you say things affects how people feel about them, not just what you say, right? And it also strongly affects the design of your visual brand because we respond to design emotionally. It's not an entirely logical thing. And that's why your brand personality is so important because it really can make a difference in how you speak and how your brand looks. And that's it. You've defined your brand. Remember, going back to the very beginning, your brand is what people think about your business and how your business makes them feel. So when they think about your business, you want them to think about who you serve, what you do, and who you are. And when they think about your business, you want them to feel the way you described your brand personality. And just think about how powerful it is if you can control those 2 reactions, the logical and the emotional. And not only that, this strong brand foundation leads to more purposeful and powerful design and marketing, the kind that people understand and feel very strongly about. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope you took the time to define your brand and really get clear on how you want people to feel about your business and what you want them to think about when they come in contact with your business. Thanks for watching. See you soon.